I'm PJ.
I'm Blake.
And welcome to the Church Podcast, episode, what is it?
17.
17.
I know.
This episode is recapping the series on Commandments of 20.
No one can understand what you're saying.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
This is where we're going over, we're going to discuss commandment number 2.
PJ's trying to work on not stuttering, and now I think he's making fun of himself a little bit.
I'm sad now. Commandment number 2 is you can belong before you believe. You can belong before you believe.
So, what is that even supposed to mean?
Well, what that means, Blake, is that if you don't believe in God at church, you can belong anyway.
So, like, I can hang out with those people?
No. This means that you can join a team and serve, tithe, offer, help us build.
Yeah.
Before you believe.
Right.
Because we're just nice like that.
Right. You can go to small groups. You can serve in kids' church. You can help us.
You should lead a small group.
You can help us before we help you.
Before you actually believe what we believe, we definitely want your help. And especially in the area of preaching the gospel.
Oh my gosh. All joking aside, that's really what it was, which is so funny.
So, belong before you believe. This is a really great concept because people that are seeking God, they should be welcome in church. What did I say?
I wrote it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well, I wrote it in pencil above here. The underlying intention is please stay till we can convince you.
Ah!
Yeah, that's what you were looking for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this concept sounds very safe. We're creating this, safe area, safe zone for you seekers.
Yeah.
To come and, we're not going to force you to believe in God. So please just keep coming. Mm-hmm. Basically, this, and I have mixed feelings about this because it's like, yeah, you don't want to be the type of Christian that makes, people that, you're trying to convert people to Christianity. You don't want to make people feel like they're judged or, they're condemned or, I don't know, like they're going to go to hell because they don't believe in what you're talking about. So it's like, please come here. We won't be pushy. This is what that statement implies. We're not going to force you. We're not going to force anything on you. Mm-hmm. But we will address you not raising your hands in worship. We need you to push here.
Yeah.
Like, you've been here for a couple weeks now, and there's new people coming. And if you have, a downcast countenance, then they might not want to stay. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
It's interesting.
No, I wasn't asking what you would think about that.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I know, but it was making me think. I know where you were going with that.
I know. I'm kidding.
But I think that it's interesting that they pushed everything except for Jesus on you. Like joining a team, being a part of a small group, tithing, getting involved in worship as a participant, stuff like that. Checking up to see where you were, if you didn't come one week, stuff like that. But then they wouldn't bring Jesus up, like, in that same way at first because they didn't want to seem pushy. But it was like sometimes these other things felt way pushier than if you would have just said, hey, can I talk to you about Jesus, like, obviously this is a Christian church. You know, like, I feel like it's kind of treating people as if they're, like, stupid in a way. It's like they went to the website or they went on Yelp or whatever. Like, they know they're going to a Christian church, you know? And so it's like, you know that they're going to talk about God or Jesus or something to you, you know? And if you're seeking out God, wouldn't you want somebody to be like, hey, you know, never seen you here before. Are you interested in hearing more about Jesus?
What? I came here for the servitude. Why are you talking to me about Jesus?
Right? It's like, isn't that weird?
It says I can belong before I believe.
Now, I would completely understand if, like, you were talking to somebody not at church, but if, like, they came to church, like, they know, even if they've never been to church before, like, whoever invited them, or if they looked it up, it's like, they know that you're going to be talking about something to do with that. And so that just kind of, it's like, isn't that what they're there for?
It's like many of the cultural values. It's something that's written on the wall so that people that are new, potential converts, come in and feel like, oh yeah, well, this is awesome. Like, my first impression is so good.
Yeah.
You know, and it's pretty much it's like buying us time to do what we actually want to do, which is just make you believe. We don't actually want you to stay belonging before you believe. You know, because, well, that's just immaturity.
Yeah. You don't want to stay a baby forever, do you?
But literally, it's like, who cares if somebody, like let me pose this here real quick. Someone, you know, God knows they're going to live for 80 years, and they go to the so-and-so church, and they just belong for 79 years, and finally they decide to believe, and then they die and go to heaven. I'd say that was mission accomplished.
Yeah, why not?
But that would never be allowed there.
Oh, no.
No, because you can't belong before you believe here. That's just what we say.
Yeah. And it was so interesting. One of our listeners had reached out to us and said that she'd also attended the same church that we went to. And she said that after you start believing, there's these rules that you have to follow as far as, like, your hair and your makeup and the dress code, because if you're on a team...
this is before you start believing.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's true. If you're on the team, then you have to,
You don't have to accept Jesus at this Christian church, but you better dress code.
You better wear some fake eyelashes. Though I do love fake eyelashes, so... But I loved that before I went to that church. That had nothing to do with me doing that. But anyway, so it's just interesting that they were trying to make you conform, like, on the outside, you know, no matter what. And it was like, if your hair, like, didn't look good, or your outfit didn't look good, and you were on a team, you're representing the church. And so that's not a good impression. And then you got a talking to. There were some girls who, like, had to get makeup lessons. There were people on the worship team who got their makeup done, you know, for, like, stage makeup, which I get the whole stage makeup thing. But, I mean, if you're working in kids' church, like, you're sweating your makeup off by the end of the day anyway. You don't need to come in, like, full face makeup to work with, like, a 5-year-old, you know. And, I mean, don't look like trash either. But I think just that expectation there, it was so... It made you feel like you couldn't really be yourself.
But that's the thing. Like, what is looking like trash? Because to me...
That's funny.
I like to have paint on my clothes.
Yeah, you put that there
today.
Today.
It, actually.
You like rips.
I just like it because... And maybe it's because of my experiences, you know, they've shaped me this way. That's normal. You know, other people, maybe they, you know, they work at a bank. And so to them, they just want to have their shoes shined every day. And and whatever, that's fine. That's the thing about, it's funny. It's so interesting. I cut someone's hair today, and he went to a church, and they stopped going because it wasn't diverse. Yeah, so it's so interesting to me, as I was saying that I thought about that, because it's like I think in the Christian belief system, we're all potentially, welcome.
Yeah.
It's like we're God's creation, his children. He's here to save us all. Mm-hmm. And that's where things got blurry, I guess, like the lines.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to question the cultural values. Mm-hmm. That's why they were more like commandments, actually.
Yeah.
It's because they weren't up for discussion. The proven ones came up with these.
Yeah.
Newcomer, you don't come in here and start pulling out your little tambourine. We don't use those nowadays. Well, I thought I could belong here. No, dude, not with that thing. Leave it at the door. Get out of here.
That was so funny, though. Okay.
He had that thing hidden in his jacket. Second song in.
That was just a complete, that was just honestly disturbing other people around him, though. And it was odd.
Yeah, but, it's like...
I understand what you're saying, though, but...
In general, normal is not just, so cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's like, normal for me is having paint on my clothes. Because to me, when I go... Well, I mean, there's times where I am...
You wore a sweater yesterday.
It's just comfortable to me because for years I was a painter, and if you walk up to the job and you're like pearly white, people think, oh, this guy probably doesn't know what he's doing. He hasn't even painted anything. So it's like almost like an indication of like your a level of experience and knowledgeability. It's like holy crap, this guy's got like 30,000 colors on his clothes. He must have been doing this since he was 5 years old.
Oh my gosh.
No, I don't know, but but then to someone who is like, works in an office, it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
But at church, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, there are some things that are set in stone. We believe in some things, like thou shalt not murder, for example. Mm-hmm. We can agree about that. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do that, then you need to go somewhere else.
Oh my gosh. Like jail.
But like if you want to be on the worship team and not wear makeup, like, why not? Why the hell not? Because there's going to be some people coming into church that don't wear makeup. And if all the women in church got big ass eyelashes on, and like makeup and like, whatever, it's like they don't feel they're not going to feel welcome.
Yeah. That's true.
Who are they going to relate to? Belong Before You Believe was like a really good concept, but in reality, people were alienated because it's almost like like subconsciously that's like where the cultness comes in.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can belong before you believe. So now it's embedded in their brain, like I can belong before I believe.
Yeah.
So guards come down, walk in, maybe attend for like weeks, and then things start happening that are the opposite of that. Like you're not actually able to just belong before you believe.
Right.
And so you feel really upset, but somehow obligated because you already started coming. And, I feel like you normal people, like, they decide something and they decide to go somewhere and they commit to it.
So I feel like, well, because I had written down that I felt like it was a sales tactic.
Yeah.
So I feel like in a way it is saying like, yeah, we're super accepting of you for a couple of weeks or months, and then I don't know where it was where you felt like where the shift was, where you felt obligated to do things like, oh, okay, yeah, now I'm a part of this, I will change the way I dress. That was one thing that I got talked to about a lot, was how I dressed before, because it was inappropriate. And there was one time where, like, I was wearing a dress and I was taking pictures, and it was like I had this hour-long conversation with my leader at the time, because
you can see your hips.
I was like, because people were looking at me because I had the camera in my hand, and so it was like I was drawing extra attention to myself, and it was just like, it was this whole thing. And I don't know, I like wearing tight clothes, I like leather, and I did get talked to a lot about being too, like, sexy, and then being too, like, hard. Also, I needed to, like, be softer.
So for you, this is funny. I'm going to throw this out there. You weren't just not allowed to belong before you believed, but you weren't allowed to dress the way you wanted either. And you also were actually on the fast track to becoming eligible for their favorite person.
Yeah, which is funny.
Like, come on. We're trying to help you. We got to get you ready.
Yeah.
He's been waiting for 6 years.
Yeah. That's true. That is weird, huh?
Yeah. Imagine how much different it would be if you could just have been yourself.
Yeah.
And just help out. You were excited to be there. Everybody likes and needs community. Mm-hmm. It's sad that the Christian community is so, I don't even know, what's the word? Like,
it just gets off
full
somehow.
Of shit.
That's one way of putting it. Yeah, I think, I don't know, it just, and that's why I feel like we're still trying to figure it out. It's like, where along the way was it like, oh, okay, yeah, I have to do that because I'm a part of this. Instead of being like, actually, I'm gonna wear whatever I want to wear. So if you don't like that, I don't have to be on your team. Oh, no, you don't want that, do you? Okay, well. Like, how come we didn't say that?
Say what again?
Like, why couldn't I just say, well...
Then I don't want to be on your team?
Yeah, like, well, okay, if you need me...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just feel like it's because it's like you had already they'd already been, like, working their claws in with... I mean, we're talking about two different eras of the church that we were at.
Yeah.
But it's the same, there was, unwritten cultural values before.
Well, that was why that became, you belong before you believe. That's why it became a cultural value. It was because it was a phrase that people would say all the time. And so even before, when this is happening, the story that I'm talking about happened before we had the cultural values written, but it was a phrase that was said a lot, which is why it became a cultural value eventually.
People don't just say, well, then I don't want to be on your team, or I don't want to go to your church then. Mm-hmm. Is because they were vulnerable. And they believed, walking down the hall, oh, I can belong before I can believe. Let me take notes here. I can belong before I can believe. Be authentic. Jesus is at the center. Yep, yeah, like all these things.
Yeah.
Guards come down, they're very friendly. So-and-so brought me coffee. And you don't realize that actually they're just setting you up to fucking pounce you with shit like that. Mm-hmm.
Or
hey,
like
that leather dress.
Yeah.
Fucking disgusting, dude.
Yeah.
You can't belong before you can believe.
No.
It's impossible. Okay, so I don't believe yet, but I gotta wear loose leather skirts or jeans and a hoodie.
But only if I have a full face of makeup. Which is why it was a little bit, even that stuff, like, at least I can only speak for the women, I'm not sure about the men, but it was a little bit contradictory because it was like, have full hair and makeup and wear clothes that are stylish and cute, but not like too cute because you don't want to attract people to you. Though, one actually, I'm so angry. One of the girls actually got told, why don't you show a little cleavage sometimes? Yes.
Who?
Buddy.
So that
Buddy.
she felt like she was being too conservative.
That is so amazing. Let me. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
Well, so I remember one time when she was about to go on stage because she was, like in training to be the next, pastor or whatever. And she comes with this shirt and it's like pretty low. And I was like, okay, she's like, so like, how do I look? And I think she'd just gotten her like hair redone and stuff too. So like, this is all like looking cute. And I was like, I don't know, like, you usually don't wear stuff like that low. Like, are you like, do you need an undershirt? Like, did something happen? Because sometimes she gets really frazzled and then there's cat hair on this shirt and then there's, somebody chewed on it and then it's just like, I'm like, do you need something? You're comfortable in that.
Somebody chewed on something.
The dog. It's so, and I was like, you don't usually wear stuff like that. Like, and she was like, well, pastor told me that I needed to show more cleavage. I was like, excuse me?
You said that?
I didn't say it like that, but in my head, that's what I was like. Are you kidding
You
me?
were probably like,
The whole,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I said, I don't know exactly what I said, but in my head I was thinking...
You would never contradict something that she said.
I got told the whole entire time not to be sexy, not to show this, not to do that, and then here she is getting told to show more cleavage. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, all right, whatever. Well, I probably said, okay, if you're comfortable, fine, but not cool, in my head. Because I was thinking like, oh, because in my head I was like, cool, because I'm confident and like I know I look good and like what I wear, and like this girl has like super low self-esteem that she thinks like, oh, she just needs to show more boob and then she's gonna be like feel better about herself. Like, no, that's not how that works. Okay. It pissed me off though.
Here's something. This might be like a narcissistic thing. I don't really study.
On your part?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? Calling me a narcissist?
Well, it sounded like you were saying like what you were going to say.
I actually do think everybody is just to some level or another narcissistic.
Well, yeah.
But I don't really study that because I'm not trying to prove that I'm not narcissistic like some people. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think that the reason that she did that was because to a narcissist, not to be hateful, but to a narcissist, when somebody does something out of a wound or something, it bothers them. It's like, so somebody, like, I guess to try and think of an example, it's like, well, I'll just use that as the example. I guarantee, case in point, you came in showing cleavage. Yeah, you make sure she covers that up. Mm-hmm. Who she thinks she is coming in here? And then someone else coming in, super like conservative, just like, self-conscious or whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying. Would you just show your cleavage?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Just like constant annoyance with everyone.
Yeah.
It's like, let me just fix all of you. You're all just so fucking fucked up and annoying. Gosh. Yeah. I gotta do everything myself. Let me go get pregnant now. So I can show you. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what that is. It's like some kind of sickness.
Yeah.
Just constantly annoyed with people, no matter what.
That's true. That's true.
It's like, buddy, you're so quiet. You just like speak up more. Come on, hey guy, quiet down. You're always talking so much. Mm-hmm. It's like just
let people be who they are.
Just like the opposite of you can belong before you believe. No, you can't even belong or believe or do anything right.
That is so interesting. That did happen a lot.
I feel like she would play every field because she just had to be in control of every single aspect of everything.
Oh, that's so weird. Yes, that's exactly what would happen. Even after, like, everything that we had given, it was like, and everyone who was, on the leadership team and stuff, it was like after everything they've been through with you, still, shut up, talk more, do this, don't do that, don't do this, do this more, what is wrong with you? Why do I have to teach you everything? It's like, whoa.
It's like the OCD leader.
Yeah.
Just gotta be leading all the time. No matter what. He's like, don't pour water like that.
Yeah.
Why are you drinking so much, you alcoholic? Why aren't you drinking? Loosen up.
Shot.
Take a shot.
That is so true. That is so weird to
what
look
is
at
that?
it like that. I don't know what that is. If anybody knows what that is, tell us, because that's what it was.
Final thoughts on you can belong before you believe?
No.
I have a final thought. You can belong before you believe was did you hear that Henry Ford responded to people that were like, can we get other colors? You only make black cars, like, whatever. Mm-hmm. He was like, you can have any color you want as long as it's black. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. Yeah, like, you can belong before you believe. Oh, but not like that.
Yeah.
You belong this way. Mm-hmm. And don't sit on the side aisles. It doesn't look full enough then. We're on camera, people. Sit in the middle. I'm not trying to force Jesus on you, but just... Can you just do this?
Yeah.
Don't raise your hand in the middle of service. The man's talking. I had a question. I've never been to church before. I thought we talked here. No, you sit and listen, bud.
Yeah.
You just sit there, shut up, and fucking listen. You can't belong before you believe. That's the point.
Yeah.
And personally, it really makes me struggle with my belief. Mm-hmm. Because it to be a part of church was so unbelonging that now I wonder, did I even believe? Because I believed and I didn't belong.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know how long it's going to take me to figure this out.
A while, probably.
I feel like I believed so strongly and still could never belong.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, outcast.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is weird.
So, I forgot to say, please like and subscribe. Unless, of course you don't want to. This has been The Church Podcast, episode 17. And the next episode, episode 18, will be about commandment number 3. We will do anything short of sin to see people saved.
Oh, gosh. Got some stories about that.
Mm-hmm.